Hi everyone, we are so excited to have you back in my home together with my sister in preparing wonderful dishes for you that are some of our favorite recipes.
So today's recipe that we're making is a Pasta Alla Genovese, which is a Napolitan dish, braised really slow on the stove, pretty easy. Prep is not crazy. And this is a recipe that my family loves, especially my youngest son, Giuseppe. He goes nuts for this. When I tell him that I'm making it, he gets very excited. So it's a very traditional Italian recipe from Napoli. Yeah.
And I think, you've been inspired by Kitchen 76 and what our chef does, because he does a lot of braising, and I know that this has allowed you to think about all those meat dishes that you could do as well.
Yeah.
On the weekend, it's great to braise meats, and I know that this is a favorite recipe on a Sunday too.
Yeah, on Sundays for sure. But yeah, so at Kitchen 76 we have a pasta bolognese, which is braised a really long time. And again, you get those beautiful umami flavors, beautiful caramelization on those meats, and mixing that after a long period of time with pasta is just amazing.
Yeah, so it's a 2-in-1 dish.
It is, yeah. So we're gonna start by seasoning our meat. So this is just 1.5 pounds of chuck roast. This is grass-fed beef. I love using grass-fed whenever I can.
And I guess you can use veal as well.
You could use veal. Veal is a little bit more tender, which it would break up actually, now that you say that, would break up really well. But I've always done it with this.
Nice and hearty.
Cut, yes. And it cooks for a really long time with onions and celery and carrots.
And for wine, you're pairing this with the cab sauv,
No, I'm pairing this one with the Merlot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful pairing with the Merlot.
Great.
Because I'm caramelizing the onions, so that sweetness really goes well with the Merlot, which is great.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, really great. But you could pair it with the cab sauv for sure, especially a nice Two Sisters aged Merlot that you've had in your cellar for a while. Okay, good. Okay, now I'm gonna head off to the stove and start searing this really well. So I'm going to sear my beautiful cuts of beef, which have been cut into big chunk size pieces, searing it with our Kitchen 76 olive oil, and as you can see, I have my nice Kitchen 76 apron. Okay. So I'm just going to line the bottom of my pan, not too much olive oil because then it'll start to splatter. Nice and hot. So now I'm going to put my beef inside and have a nice sear on the outside. Because I want a nice sear so it kind of seals in the juices, and that nice crust is going to give a nice depth of flavor to the end result. Another layer of this dish is my veg. So I've diced up fine 1 carrot and 2 stalks of celery. A nice fine dice so that it melts right into the sauce.
So I noticed that so you got a lot of onion here, which you're going to speak about.
Yep. And
some cherry tomatoes, but no garlic.
No garlic, nope, no garlic, just the onion, because I just want to get that sweetness of the onions after it braises for a really long time as part of that flavor of the dish. So that's why, again, the Merlot goes really well with it. And yeah, it doesn't need garlic, and traditionally, there's no garlic in this recipe. Yeah.
So, I don't really cook with garlic that much, I gotta be honest.
No, eh?
No, I mean, if I'm doing rapini, yes, but I don't, I like shallots and onion. I don't like that garlicky.
I love cooking with shallots. Okay, so a nice fine dice. Check on my meat if you can, please. Okay. I'm also going to be cutting up some cherry tomatoes. This is just half of a clam of cherry tomatoes, cut in half, which I'm going to be using towards the end of the recipe. Right before I close the lid and let it sleep on the heat for at least 2 hours. Okay, it's got a great sear on it now, so I'm going to take it out and just set it aside and start my second process of cooking my vegetables in this oil here. So I just took the meat off, set it aside, put it on low so I'm not burning the little bits of goodness that's in that pot. And another element of this dish that's super important is this onion.
It seems to be one of the main ingredients.
Oh yes. So it has to be nice and thin because the onion has to almost melt in the sauce after that long cooking period. It just melts into the sauce and creates that depth of flavor and the caramelization.
And you don't want to use red onion?
No.
So yellow onion, Spanish onion.
Yep. Okay.
This scares me.
Does this scare you?
I'd never use mandolin, ever.
Well, you have to be very careful, and that's why I have this glove,
Yeah.
because I've had my experiences. So that's why.
No.
Yes, I have. Yep. Okay, so if you can see here, the onion is nice and thin. Okay, so I want to break it all up. Okay, perfect. See, it's nice and thin.
And no tears.
No, no tears.
Because you cut most of it before.
Yes.
Smart.
So now I'm going to be sauteing my vegetables with some tomato paste, white wine, and then we'll go from there. And I want to cook down my tomato paste with my vegetables just to get rid of that raw taste of the tomato paste. And now I'm going to add my meat back in, add my white wine, and then get that going and prep it for my sliced onions. I am adding unoaked Chardonnay with this. Listen, you don't have to go crazy thinking you're drinking red with it and you're using a white. It's fine because it all cooks together and just allows for that depth of flavor. And mainly it's for liquid, but of course we're going to use Two Sisters. Just 2 cups.
And it gives it a lighter flavor too. The red is very robust.
Yeah.
So this is a dish that you can have even in, spring or warmer season too.
Yeah. And again, cooking, you can modify what you're doing. When it comes to baking, I find it's very, very technical,
Yes.
very precise. Like I decided now, instead of using 2 cups, I'm gonna use 1.5 cups because I don't have that as much, I don't need as much liquid because of the amount of vegetables and meat that I have. Because the meat, I cut it a little bit smaller and I don't have 2 pounds. Usually for 2 pounds, I'll use 2 cups. 1.5 pounds of the meat that I have, I'm comfortable with 1.5.
And this will release water as well.
Yeah, which is exactly why I'm good with just this. So now it's time for the onions. So I'm gonna put the onions, lay it on top. I'm gonna sprinkle my cherry tomatoes on top as well. I'm gonna season that because I like to season to taste. And I'm just gonna let this cook a little bit. So I'm gonna bring it up to high until I hear it bubbling. Then I'm gonna turn it down on low and cover it and just let it go for about 2 hours. Maybe a couple of times I'll check on it to see if it's really coming together. And then other than that, you kind of let it do its thing. So it's been cooking for 3.5 hours and it is amazing. It blended together, everything is softened, the onions, the meat. And now what I want to do is just with a fork, very gently kind of separate all the meat so it's kind of like a true ragu where the meat is all incorporated within the sauce. So with regard to the pasta that I want to make with this sauce, I want a short tube pasta. So I have here rigatoni, I have casarecce, and I have beautiful ziti. So I just find that a smaller pasta works well because you have the shreds of meat. It's just easier to eat. If you had a spaghetti, it'd be awkward, kind of twirling and having your chunks of meat around. So these are better, short pastas. Rigatoni is my choice today. You good with that?
I knew it. And I love and you need the ridges.
Yes.
And you need them a little bit bigger. See, this would be amazing as a baked pasta dish.
Oh, that would,
Pasta al forno.
Yeah, yeah. And casarecce is a dish, actually, a pasta that we use often at Kitchen 76 as well. Really, really nice short pasta with nice sauces, braised meats.
That's
goes
great
really,
with the
really well.
ossobuco sauce.
Yes, 100%. So I'm gonna pop this in a nice pot of boiling water, salted like the sea. No scissors, so we're gonna use a knife.
Make sure it's serrated. There you go.
Thank you. And cook that until it's al dente, and then I'm gonna mix it up with the sauce. Look at this.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
That is yummy.
It's just missing a bit of basil, so I'm just gonna rip up the basil. I don't wanna chop the basil. I wanna rip it up because it really gets the oils out and the essence of the basil. When you chop it, it's not the same. It's really not the same. And it adds a freshness, which is
So
really
you basically cooked that and just let it do its thing.
Yep.
It's like 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Beautiful. And I love the pasta choice.
100%, I know.
Yeah.
And you know, at the end of the day, I picked Merlot for this, and I find that this is a better pairing than any other wine. Because you think meat, Cab Sauv, no. The Merlot, it's perfect. Because it's smooth and fruit forward, it really goes harmoniously with the sweet and savory notes of the onion and the sauce itself. So Merlot is a perfect choice for this wine, for this pasta.
It's a great pasta wine, even
It
with
is.
bolognese.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So what do we call the Merlot? The Sophia Loren of reds?
Sophia Loren.
That's your line.
Yeah. Sexy, beautiful, full of body, just absolutely delicious. There we go.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna add some Parmigiano after when you're ready, just to finish it off.
And you know, the onions, you don't even see them,
No,
but they serve a purpose.
oh yes, it adds a beautiful sweetness. Additional depth of flavor. I'm gonna grab the Parmigiano. There we go.
Wow, I'm gonna take a little bit more meat on there.
This basil.
Thank you.
Parmigiano is perfect. You could also use a pecorino for this as well. I prefer Parmigiano, but pecorino would be equally as delicious in this dish.
Oh, yummy. Oh my gosh.
That's really good. The basil.
You know what? It's hard to stay away from pasta for a long period of time. It really is. You know, you need, you know, every once in a while, you gotta enjoy a nice plate of pasta.
Oh, 100%. Al dente.
You really do.
Actually, when we visited Naples with my family, probably 2 years ago, they had this sauce and they hollowed out a bun. They cut the top of the bun off, then they hollowed it out. They stuffed it with the sauce, this meat sauce, in the bun from the top, and you ate it like a sandwich. It was unreal.
Wow. But I love it like
Unreal.
this.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
And the onions just soften and just caramelize and blend right into the sauce.
And carrots do add a little bit of sweetness. That's why in a bolognese, sometimes you'll see people using some carrot and sometimes not. But in this dish, it's not, it doesn't add too much sweetness. I think whatever that little bit of sweetness it does add, it's necessary. Oh, so nice, Melissa. Thank you again for sharing. You are the pasta queen. So it's wonderful. Thank you. And I can't wait for you to make this, I don't know, maybe Easter.
Yeah,
Or next time you invite me over.
no
On
problem.
a Sunday.
Anytime.
And feed me and the kids. Cheers. Thank you so much. Cheers.